right. What a great day. What a wonderful day to come together and acknowledge our oneness and acknowledge that this present moment is all we have. And that we can choose this moment as it contains all moments previous and future. It's the gateway, it's the doorway to everything that we could ever want or need is being present right here, right now. So welcome home to the present moment, guys. Welcome home. In the present moment, we find out something very amazing, important, and powerful. And that's that we are all one, that we're all connected and that we all need each other, that we are interdependent, that I can only exist as part of a whole. You know, this past week, one of our favorite spiritual leaders, Desmond Tutu, made his transition into spirit. And he said something wonderful. He said, "My humanity is bound up with yours. We can only be human together." He practiced something called Ubuntu. Ubuntu means that I am because we are. I exist because we exist. I am myself because of our shared humanity. No one can be human alone. When we recognize this, there's a big shift in our consciousness. We no longer are blaming ourselves or someone else because of the past. And we're no longer seeking a future that is only self-beneficial and doesn't benefit all. This great man, Desmond Tutu, lived Ubuntu. And I invite us all to live in the same manner. The only way we can do it really is to focus on this now moment, is to release the past, to release all my interpretations of what the past was all about. Because literally everything in our past got us to this present moment. Everything led me to right here, right now. So in fact, it was all good. Even the stuff that I called bad was a movement forward, was a learning experience, was part of my evolution. Not just as a human being, but my spiritual evolution of consciousness, which is what we like to focus on here at Unity. When we truly desire to let go and let God, there's a miraculous shift that occurs in us. We've heard that a lot and we've said that a lot. I'm going to let go and let God. But what does that mean? It means that we're shifting from fear to love, from time to eternity, or from time to now. Present moment. This has been my focus this week, is to rededicate myself to meditation and to mindfulness and to affirmative prayer. That everything that we could ever want, desire, need, imagine is already here. It's right here, right now, within me. The whole universe is within me and exists within me in potential. And the great story, guys, the great news is that you get to manifest it yourself. By the power of God within you, you're given the power to manifest the life that you want. Isn't that incredible? Isn't that wonderful? Well, what kind of life are you manifesting for yourself? That's my question. And if you don't like it so much, or there's sometimes you like it and sometimes you don't, stop blaming others for your life. That's the first thing I would suggest. It really helps me a lot. And, you know, I have a default mechanism too, where I want to blame conditions outside of my own mind for how I'm feeling. But no matter what it is, no matter how good or bad it seems to be, my interpretation of it is what brings me my emotion and what brings me all of my experience. My interpretation of what's going on. The truth is, God is always going on. Good is always going on. Love is always going on. Prosperity and abundance is always happening. That's right. Amen. Thank you. See, that's the kind of church that I'm used to. Having a conversation. Amen. That's right. And if that's not right, then tell me it's not right. No, we have to be in fear sometimes. Oh, no! That's not true. Right? That doesn't ring true for me. Well, then war is an inevitable part of the human condition. Not true. Get the hook. Right? If you ever hear me preaching that stuff, just get the hook. I'm telling you, just replace me with somebody who's telling you the truth. Because that's all I'm here for, is to be a conduit for the truth. I'm not going to go back and reinforce the insanity with which you once believed. And the most insane premise is that we're separate from one another. That's why I loved this quote, and the demonstration of our oneness by Archbishop Desmond Tutu, because he lived Ubuntu. We studied that book. We had that book in our book club, the Book of Joy, which he teamed up with someone from another faith, the Dalai Lama. And he demonstrated how our faiths converge in a single truth. And that's what we propose here at Unity, is that we all live by a single truth, that all beings are divine, and that we all live within that truth, that divinity is in us. We all live within the divine principles of that truth, that goodness is in us, that we are inherently good. So this new year, I want us to feel that we are inherently good. You are in your core, the core of your being. You are not only inherently good, you are inherently magnificent. You are a bright, shining light of the divine in this world. And you know what? You can decide that that's true for you now. Something amazing happens. Because it's already true, the whole universe is behind you. Everything now comes to support your decisions and what you affirm in your heart and in your mind and with your words, with your thoughts and with your actions. Everything in the universe is conspiring on your behalf to bring about your highest good. How many here are experiencing that? I see a few. Okay, look at this. Almost everyone in this room. And if you're not experiencing it all the time, that's okay. Because that's part of the flow. And part of my message today is to accept that there is a flow going on in your physical universe, that it does have opposites, because that's how we perceive things. But there's also this unchanging divine truth that has no opposite. And we can bring that into our awareness and have our world of seeming opposites get into alignment with the truth. That's the fun part, is that you get to manifest your world by the pure substance of love, right? According to the pure substance of love. You can bring into manifestation your world by what? Divine principle, divine law. But who's working that divine law? Not somebody else. It's going to have to be us. So the device that we use mostly to avoid this moment is our fixation on the past or our worrying about the future, right? That seems to be our most predominant device. And you do it all the time. I mean, you might be in a conversation with someone and you just can't help talking about what happened last year or yesterday, or what somebody else is saying, or what was on the news. It's very, sometimes, almost impossible for a person to just be present with the other person and to really listen to what they're saying, to who they are, to really enjoy the Christ in them, that holy being that's before you. Then you can talk about whatever you want. It doesn't matter, because you know, and you both know, because it clicks in at that moment, that you're in a relationship of a now moment. You're in a holy relationship. You're in the holy instant where you both are acknowledging the divinity in each other. And you know that this story that we're telling ourselves is merely a vehicle for our light. It's a vehicle for the Christ to work through us. That's the amazing thing, is that this life, this body, our relationships, everything we do, our careers, our jobs, our families, are all a vehicle for love. It's a vehicle for love, and if it is something, you turn it into something else, you can always change your mind. You can change your mind and say, no, this relationship is a vehicle for love and only love. What do we say about unity on Cape Cod? God is love and only love. Only love lives here. Does that mean that I'm not going to disagree with you, have a difference of opinion? No, you should come to a board meeting. We might have 6 differences of opinion, but guess what? We'd never have conflict. We might have a tremendous difference of opinion on what color we should paint the building, or anything, what we should spend our money on, or how we should proceed with this or proceed with that. There's a lot of decisions to be made in an organization. And although we have differences of opinion, I can tell you, and all these guys are here, we never have conflict. Why? Because only love lives here. We know that we can come to an agreement or an acknowledgement of how we need to proceed in love. That's really important. And it might be an idea that none of us have thought of. But by entering all of our opinions into the middle, we can look at them and not be attached to our opinions, our agenda, or the outcome with which we are holding on to. And guess what? Spirit always gives us something else. Something that harmonizes not only our little group, but the whole of our community. Something that harmonizes and brings us together in oneness in this thing that Desmond Tutu called Ubuntu. Because I realized that I can't exist without you. We've turned that around and we say, I can't exist without what I'm thinking, my past, my future, those things that we fixate on. I need to let go of my attachment to the result of my thinking, of my ideas. When I do that, Spirit gives us a completely different result. And that is the highest good of everyone involved. That's how we pray. In Unity, we always finish our prayers for the highest good of everyone involved. Not just to accomplish my personal agenda so that I feel good about myself, about my ego. No, for the highest good. Because Spirit knows the highest good. And me, in my limited perception, do not. I do not know what is the best for everybody. But Spirit does. And so we willingly release ourselves to Spirit. And that's how we're called, what we used to call worship. That's how we're called to worship. The hour is coming, and now is when the true worshipers will worship the Father in spirit and truth. That's John 4:23. What does that mean? The term here, worship, means identify with. So if you want to worship Spirit or God, you have to identify with God. You have to act from the Christ in you. You have to surrender to the Spirit each and every moment. You have to let go of your agenda in favor of the highest good of all. To worship God in spirit and truth means that we're claiming our own spiritual nature. That's the first thing that we do. We're claiming our own spiritual nature, and then we're living by principles of truth. We're identifying as the Christ in us. And we're living from the God within us. That's the true worship. So the greatest tool we have in our quest to live as the Christ is the transformation of our mind. To transform from being separate to one. To feeling, experiencing that oneness. That's our greatest tool, is the transformation. That's why we're transforming lives. We're moving from this idea that we're separate to this experience that we are one. And I think it's the most important experience we can have. So just like the birth of the Christ is a process, living as the Christ is also an ongoing process. Right? We've gotten through Christmas where we're birthing the Christ in us. Now we have to live that way. We have to live as the Christ. That's an even more extensive process because it's ongoing. It's every day. It's every moment. It's allowing and accepting the Christ in you to come forth every moment. And there is a way to do this. Be in the now. Embrace the now. Release the past. Embrace the now. And I know that it's a practice. But what a glorious practice. You know, Lily and I made a commitment to meditate at least 30 minutes every single day. And guess what? We found Dolores Pucci was doing the same thing. And she said, well, I have this thing that I copied from one of your messages. And it was the steps to experiencing that transcendent peace. The first thing was to experience that transcendent peace was to establish your spiritual practice. So in the new year, that's what I'm going to do. And it's wonderful because what happens is that you find a lot of people doing the same thing. And then I realized that I'm connected to all the minds who are meditating or praying at that moment, anywhere in the world. Because we're all going to the same place of peace. We're all going to that same place of silence. And there, all of our energy, our original spiritual energy exists. We're actually returning our minds and our hearts to heaven. And we're being not conformed to the world of time. We are going to that unlimited place where we know we are one and we are connected. So the transformation starts when you are not conformed to this world, but you are being transformed by the renewing of what? Your mind, your God mind, your Christ mind, your one mind, your divine mind, universal mind. Not the brain and what's stored up in your past and your memories in the subconscious memory. We want to take it from the superconscious and place it down in our subconscious. And then our default mechanism will be one of God, compassion, love, joy, all the responses that bring more joy and love to the world. That's where we'll be coming from. Why? Because now we have, I would say, programmed our human mind to be in alignment with divine mind. That's an important thing. And we do that in meditation because we go to the silence. We trust in that silence, in the Spirit. We trust in the truth. And we live there. And so that becomes our foundation. No matter what we do now in life, that's our foundation of where we're coming from. Now I know you're coming from love. You're coming from compassion. I trust you. I do not ever have any doubt or any fear about where you're coming from. Now, can we develop that with those that we do not agree with? With those who may be very aggressively telling us that we are wrong? Well, I think we can. If we look back to our spiritual leaders of the past, Desmond Tutu, who overcame, it was a big part of overcoming apartheid. I don't think Nelson Mandela would have ever been as powerful as he was without his spiritual leader, Desmond Tutu. Mahatma Gandhi, the Dalai Lama, Yeshua, the Buddha, Lao Tzu, all these spiritual masters, they were not conformed to the world, but they were transformed by the renewing of their divine mind. Another way to say this, I have this great website I go to. It's called Bible Hub. There's a couple of them, but I like that one because you can get about 20 different translations. So when you look up something in the Bible, read all the translations. Some of them may not make sense, and you can see how it's the human mind trying to understand mystical things in very limited perspective. But sometimes I get a translation that fits even better. And this is one of them. It's from the New Living Translation of the Bible, and it's the same chapter here of Romans 12:2. Don't copy the behaviors and customs of this world, but let God transform you into a new person by changing the way you think. That's really great, isn't it? So that's one of those newer translations that I like. I don't like many of them, by the way, because they're getting more limited most of the time. But this one kind of opens me up a little bit. I can become a new person by thinking differently. That's unity. That's new thought. That's all the new thought traditions throughout the world. I can become a new person by changing the way I think. Now, who's in control of your thinking? Wow! I am. Not somebody else. That's incredible. That's the only thing that I have real control over is myself, my own thinking. Now, when I am conformed to the world, it seems like I don't even have control over myself or my thinking. Because I'm thinking along the lines of the behavior and the customs of the world. Now, this is where I come up to, we have customs of racism, we have customs of war, we have customs of letting other people starve and go hungry, we have all kinds of customs of inequality and injustice in this world. I will not conform to those customs or behaviors. Amen. Amen. Thank you. Now I got you talking again. Thank you. I will not conform to those customs or behaviors. What I want to do is be transformed by the renewing of my divine mind. To have love and compassion for all. To know that we can move forward, not despite our differences, but because of them. That we are inherently intertwined, interconnected, and interdependent. And so I embrace the differences that you embody and that you bring to my life. Hey, that's one more thing I don't have to do. That's one more way that God is being expressed that I can enjoy. And I can just be myself and express God through this particular person. Isn't that wonderful? That's amazing. Now I'm beginning to celebrate our diversity and include you into my life. I don't have to understand you or your life in order to accept you. And so that's a really important thing, because how we judge people is usually from the past, our past learning and our past judgments and our past biases. What do they call that? Embedded bias or inherent bias, something like that, that we've learned. It's just stuff that we've learned. And we can unlearn those things just as easily by accepting the truth about us. So this is a huge part of unity theology, to use spiritual principles in such a way to transform your life. To change the way you think will transform you. To live from our Christ nature instead of our limited perceptions. When we are perceiving life from the perspective of the past or future, we're not accepting things as they appear right now. We tend to create a lot of drama in that, because it's non-acceptance. Drama only comes from non-acceptance of the moment. Whatever's showing up, Eckhart Tolle used to say, just accept it as if you have chosen it. Just act as if you chose this moment, whatever's showing up here. You're the one that chose it. You are the one that called it into your life. It might be for a greater learning purpose. Your soul called this into existence for you. Whatever it is. Just act as if. He's not saying, okay, this is the ultimate truth, you have to do this. He's saying, try it. Act as if you chose this moment. And nobody chose it for you. You chose this moment. I like that. So, we tend to create drama when we're in non-acceptance. So the way out of this drama, according to Eckhart Tolle, is live in complete acceptance of what is. He says that's the end of all the drama in your life. When you live in the now, in complete acceptance of what is showing up now. No more drama. Lily and I often say, drama queens, auditions have been canceled. We put that right on the front door. We had a couple of you guys over for Christmas dinner, and Christine was there, and she said, you know what? I like being here. It's a drama-free Christmas. She didn't even see the sign. It was invisible. Drama-free. Wouldn't that be great? You guys? Well, it is great. I can tell you because I'm attempting to live that way. And I realize that all the drama that I create is going on here. And I can change it by the way I think, by accepting a new thought. That's why we call it new thought. So when you live in complete acceptance of what is, accepting it right here, right now, end of your drama. Isn't that wonderful? Wow, I love it. I love it, I love it. Thich Nhat Hanh also talked a lot about the present moment. We have a Sangha here at 4:30 every Sunday, and I invite you to guys come and meditate together if you'd like. It's a wonderful, wonderful meeting, and Carolyn and Paul are here every Sunday. And Thich Nhat Hanh is the teacher of our friend James Kirshner, who he runs the Sangha. So it's a Buddhist meditation based on the teachings of Thich Nhat Hanh. And Thich Nhat Hanh said, the present moment contains the past and the future. It's all right here, right now. He sounds like Einstein. All time is going on all the time. This moment does contain the past and the future. The secret of transformation is the way we handle this moment. This very moment. I love it. So all time is going on all the time. What am I releasing then? What did I burn up in the fire just now? My thoughts about it. My attachment to how I'm viewing it. My interpretation of how it affected me. What if it was for your highest good? Then all I burned up was my false interpretation of what was happening. Wonderful. Now I know that I can cleanse my mind of those ideas. And I can truly let go of what no longer serves me, which is my false interpretation of this present moment. What we are releasing is how we interpreted the past and what we're expecting from the future. That's what we're releasing. It is not really what happened, it's how we interpreted it. Everything that has occurred has led you to this moment and to your highest good. Therefore, it's an integral part of now. But I can release the suffering of the past. This is important. I don't know if it was the Dalai Lama that said, pain is inevitable, suffering is optional. Right? Suffering is not required. Suffering is your emotional response and attachment to it. And therefore, you not only prolong the pain, you make it greater. So suffering can be released, but I can still retain the lesson that it taught me. Wow. That's incredible. Looking for the good in all situations, no matter what it is. It taught me something important, and it made me who I am right now. So, wow, I want to embrace that, and I'm going to embrace it now. Because it's here now. It's in this moment. The secret of our transformation is how are we handling it? That's the important thing. How are we handling it? So I'm deciding right now to focus my intention on the present moment. Focus my intention on the greater experience. Focus my attention on divine order, on the grace that is given me now. For all things are unfolding in divine order, with grace and with ease. And we can let 2022 be a year of grace. Let it be a year of divine order, of grace and ease. Let it unfold for you perfectly. Allow your misperceptions to fall away. Let go of your interpretations of what's going on. Be really, truly present with the miracle and the blessing that's being offered you today. Just one day at a time. It's just like the 12-step program, because I've been addicted to my thoughts. I've been addicted to my way of looking at things, my perception, how I'm perceiving the world, how I'm perceiving other people. I've been addicted to those perceptions, and I can let them go, and only I can let them go. So let it go, my friends. Embrace the now, and let 2022 be the door and the gateway to the greatest life you could ever imagine. So it is, so we let it be. I love you.
You have been watching the message from our Sunday celebration service here at Unity on Cape Cod, providing a positive path for spiritual living. Please join us every Sunday morning at 10 a.m. at 147 Walton Ave, Hyannis, Mass., and visit us online at unityoncapecod.org. This video was made possible in part through a grant from Unity Worldwide Ministries and the Templeton Foundation.